Okay, you're back, Tanya.
I'm back.
Oh yes, okay. So we're
Good on everybody. Apologies for that. Welcome to the Information Centre for the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific that we run here at Whitirea. It's really great to actually talk to people who are real people who might be interested in the program. Apologies for the technological difficulties, but we're just wrapping up teaching here on our Porirua site this week, and you know, with all hope we will be wrapping up teaching in our Cook Island site this time next year for your first year. So the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific is a Whitirea nursing program. Whitirea, it's been run at Whitirea for 17 years. We're in a unique position at Whitirea, which is based, of course, in the centre of the universe at Porirua, where I think there are many Cook Island people living. And 17 years the program's been running. It was developed by Dr. Margaret Southwick in response to Pacific not achieving on the Bachelor of Nursing program. So we have a wonderful partnership, tri-partnership at Whitirea. We have a Bachelor of Nursing Pacific, a Bachelor of Nursing Māori, and a Bachelor of Nursing. So we have 3 distinct programs to meet the needs of those respective populations. And preferably the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific is for those who identify as Pacific, but of course they have options to also enrol in the Bachelor of Nursing. Bachelor of Nursing Māori was also set up in response to meeting the needs of Māori akonga who come onto a program. Over the last 17 years, we've been very successful in graduating over 380 Pacific nurses into the workforce. We've just had our results from our state examination, which is the Nursing Council examination you will sit when you pass your Bachelor of Nursing. And we had a 100% pass rate, which was fantastic. It's the first time that the Bachelor of Nursing has had a 100% pass rate, but also of the other 2 programs, we were the one who got the 100% this year. So we're really delighted with that. It shows that there's a whole lot of work and progress that's been made in the program. And we've got a new curriculum that we wrote a year ago. We call it the Kuta Framework. Still a Bachelor of Nursing Pacific. All the programs are accredited by Nursing Council. You all have to meet the same education competencies. It's just we developed a program that reflected us as Pacific. And you know, these Pacifics are really broad term, and it can mean many different things. And in Aotearoa context, that is definitely the case. It reflects not only who we are as Pacific, where we're from, and the communities and whānau that we, the professional requirements of nursing and the cultural requirements, as well as the Nursing Council competencies of cultural safety. A Pacific worldview is there to reflect us as Pacific. And certainly our success rate, I think our success rate at the end of this year from our year 1 to year 2 and year 2 to year 3, we're looking at least a 90% success rate. So considering on the whole in Aotearoa, 25% of nurses who enrol into a Bachelor of Nursing program across all the polytechs and universities that offer nursing programs, only 25% don't succeed in the first year. So there's a really high attrition rate nationally for nursing programs for first year nurses. And we certainly know that most of those who don't make it through the first year are Māori and Pacific. So that's hence why there is a Bachelor of Nursing Pacific, and it's very successful. There's one other more Bachelor of Nursing Pacific at MIT. Ours is a standalone program. Their program has courses that can currently run with their Bachelor of Nursing, but still a very highly successful program. So there's only 2 in Aotearoa at the moment, and all the polytechs, just to give you a big picture, all the polytechs have been restructured and we will come under an entity named Te Pukenga. So there'll be like a big polytech of New Zealand. And we at the moment, and I'm involved in that on the working group, we are looking at rewriting the Bachelor of Nursing. So there will be 1 Bachelor of Nursing program for all of Aotearoa, 1 Bachelor of Nursing Pacific for those who want to offer it, and 1 Bachelor of Nursing Māori. So you've actually come into the space at a really exciting time. Te Pukenga, which is now the big government agency running all the polytechs, has looked at our model at Whitireia, and they've decided that it is a excellent example of good practice, and they're modelling the programs that they want to write for the whole of Aotearoa on what we're running at Whitireia. So that's really pleasing to see, and it means that not only are we seemingly getting it right academically for our learners, but professionally as a nursing, but most importantly culturally, which is really pleasing to us. So the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific is a 3-year degree, and each of the years you do 120 credits. It's a 360 degree, which is standard for a nursing degree. On successful completion of the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific, you will come out with a Bachelor of Nursing Pacific. You will then have to sit the Nursing Council state examination. So everyone who sits a Bachelor of Nursing Pacific or passes successfully then has to sit a state exam. So that's Nursing Council. So Nursing Council is a professional body that looks after nurses, and that sits outside of us, even though you sit it on site. So that's an external exam you have to pass. So you could get a Bachelor of Nursing and never become a nurse because you don't sit the state. But what we do is over the 3 years, we prepare you for that state examination. And as I just said, our 3rd year akonga just sat it 2 weeks ago, and we got 100% success rate. They all managed to get jobs. So, and we just heard that news on Friday. So transformational. And we do know that education is the biggest transformation for us as Indigenous, for all of us as Indigenous, but for us as individuals, for our whānau and for our community. So if you choose to apply for the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific, you come on it will be transformational for you. Nursing is something I know you certainly need a back where you are, back home, but nursing is something, the shortage is, the shortage and the gaps are so, and the demand is so huge. Even if we doubled the number of nurses we took in every nursing program in Aotearoa, we still would not meet that demand. So the supply is so huge, especially with COVID, that for the first time, all our graduates knew on graduation that they had a job, and then they just had to pass state. So, I mean, that's just a fantastic option. And as I say, coming into a program, a study, your options are here. You're sitting here right now, your options are here. Once you get your degree, your options then go to here. Once you get some experience, your options then go to there. And that's a fantastic position to be in. What I do say to all the applicants is that we're actually, just by applying, well done. It means that you're going to invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. You're your biggest resource. You're your biggest asset. That's really important that you need to do that. It's 3 years. It will go really fast. Our part of the partnership is that when we accept you, and we've met the entry criteria, we're saying that we think you're capable of passing. So we will do everything we possibly can to support you to do that. There's a really, really, really simple formula to being successful. And it comes down to you turn up, you attend, you ask for help and support, and you hand your work in. I can almost guarantee your success with those 3 simple things. Of course, they're a bit complicated and life does get in the way. So before you apply, I just really want you to make sure that your ducks are in a row. Everything's at home, supportive, go home and talk to your whānau. Make sure this is the right time and the right place. For some people, it's the right time, not the right place. For some people, right place, not the right time. So just go home, have a chat, have a think. Is this what you want to do? Because when you come onto a program, you sign a contract with us, and the contract is for us to deliver you a program of study. So you're effectively paying us to stress you out. That's simply it. It's quite stressful. Getting on is easy. Passing's a little bit harder, but doable. It takes a lot of commitment. It means that we'll have to sacrifice. I know there's so much to sacrifice in the Cook Islands. Not too much paddling can be done. You're going to have to choose between the paddling and the mahi and the work, and you're going to have to really, really decide, is this what you want to do? Because nothing good comes easy. So by the time you get to your third year, all our third years have had enough and they just want to get out there and work. And as you, of course, we start off at level 5 and then we go to level 6 and then level 7. And by that stage, we're expecting you to show a level of competence academically, professionally, and culturally that meets being a nurse. The 3 years, we have 3 years and each have a theme. So the first year, we called we made a framework up for the new curriculum. We called it the Kuta framework. So the Kuta, and Jean Mataira, who's my boss, she says that you don't have a Kuta plant in the Cook Islands, but most of the other islands have it's a Chinese chestnut, and it grows in the water. And in Fiji, where my whānau was from, they're renowned for their Kuta mats. So that it's a special plant that is grown and it's used specifically for weaving. It grows in a lot of the other islands. It grows in Aotearoa and they also use it for weaving. So what we likened our curriculum to is weaving together of all the content, the professional aspect, the academic and the cultural, and weaving together. And as we know, you will have weavers are renowned. They are specialists in their field. And every time something is woven, there has to be lots of preparation. You have to have the right tools, you have to have the right resources, and you have to know what you're doing. And as we know, when we weave, we can't just weave. We have to make sure that when we weave, that it's nice and tight, that we go back and check the weaving, because if we go forward too fast and the weaving isn't nice and tight and in place, it will unravel. And that's really about your journey. So we make sure in that foundational year that you have all the right help and support and all the right resources and content and learning that you need to get through. So the first year we've called the whakawai, which is a Tukaloan term, which refers to the concept of foundation. I'm just going to read it so I get it right. So the student will have the opportunity to gain insight into their own Pacific identity by introducing them to Te Tiriti of Waitangi, Pacific worldviews, values, models in the context of Aotearoa. The student will acquire core communication skills, foundational nursing skills, which they will demonstrate in a diverse range of clinical and cultural learning environments. So first year is a lot about ko a'au, or who am I? So we need, as we know, if we're going to be culturally competent, culturally safe, we need to know who we are. We need to be culturally okay with ourselves. So it's about learning about who you are in this context, who you are in the context of your whānau and your community, and also how you identify. And we know that certainly when people build that cultural confidence, they are far more accepting of others who are different to themselves. And certainly within a nursing field, needing to be culturally safe and competent and confident is really key to being a really good nurse. So we look at that. We look at wellness. We look at social determinants of health. What affects us as individuals, our whānau, our community, and we start to relate that back to a nursing context. You'll also do some clinical placements. So I think about week 4 or 5, you will go back into aged care. So we look at the human lifespan, human development. So we put you into placements where, even though it's aged care, it's still wellness, it's still part of the life cycle. You can go into secondary schools, into preschool. So you're starting to relate what you've learned about who you are as an individual, but also the human development and the lifespan, and looking at that and observing and seeing what that looks like in the health context. Then you have so you sort of, first semester you might go, I think you go out for one day for 5 weeks. And then in the second semester you repeat that. And then at the last block you go into what we would say is a hospital setting or DHB setting, just to observe. So it's a week placement where you go into a hospital setting so you can get that context. The second year we've called Farah, which is a Samoan term which signifies upholding respectful relationships. So this year is all about who you are as you, but in relationships to community and to the profession of nursing. And it will build on the foundational knowledge and skills acquired in year 1. And we want you to start displaying attributes of nursing praxis, effective communication, and integrate and make meaningful interactions with others. So it's that relational aspect, that relational aspect that we have with others, but also a lot about self-reflection. At the beginning level, you will use reflection and critical thinking, and you will facilitate decision making in response to interpretation from a nurse context. Oh, and in year 2, you have placements in primary health, mental health, and community health. So you do bigger blocks of learning. So as you graduate up the years, your clinical experience blocks out and practice become longer. Also, I'll go back to year 1. We have clinical experience, but in a lab setting, so a simulated environment. So you learn to practice lots to become competent. That carries on all the 3 years. So as well as going out to clinical, we prepare you in a safe and simulated environment where you can practice all those nursing skills. Year 3, we've called Turanga Neti, which is, of course, a Cook Island, is for nurse, and Turanga is for position, status, and responsibilities of the nursing practice. So by year 3, we're really wanting you to see how you'll demonstrate how they're able to transition out of their student role and into the role of a beginning practitioner of a nurse. They will confidently be able to move between their Pacific communities and world of non-Pacific healthcare services in ways that add values to both. The year 3 student will become proficient in their ability to integrate nursing knowledge and professional practice. You'll be able to demonstrate sound judgment, decision-making, reflection, evaluation, professional conduct, and best practice as a beginning nurse clinician. So 3rd year is all about preparing you to become a new grad as a nurse. You go out and you have bigger blocks. I think you're in for like 4 weeks, and you go out for 4 or 5 weeks, and you're in for 3 weeks, and you go out for 4 or 5 weeks. And that's where we're proposing that you come back over here to the lovely warm Wellington and do your clinical placements in Aotearoa. So we get you used to the Aotearoa health context, but also all the placements in year 3 are in acute settings. So that's where you might get placements in ICU, intensive care, SCABU, where the prem babies go, ED, a bit more complex, hospital settings where the environment is a little bit more challenging. So those placements will be a little bit more available to you over here, and that's also at the end of your 3rd year. You do your what we call your PFR, or your preparation for practice. So you go out in a big 9-week block, and that's when you do shift work. So you literally choose where you want to go. And you have options. You might decide, I want to do primary health or mental health or ED, and we try to get you into your top option, and you go and literally work there as a nurse, and you do all the shift work. So it's your longest interview too, because you usually go to a place that you're really interested in. So that's your final placement, and you need to pass that to pass the whole qualification, and then you come back and we start preparing you for your internal exams, and then of course the big state. So that last semester is a really big year, really big semester, which has lots of learning, but also lots of assessing, and it's sort of preparing you and giving you those challenges and that real life sort of pressure that's going to be replicated once you graduate. So that's your 3rd year, and of course it all sounds very easy when I'm talking about it, but I'll tell you what, 3 years just goes so fast. It's unbelievable, and you need the 3 years to prepare you for what we need as nurses, and especially in the dynamic health environment that we certainly have now with COVID. The entry criteria, you may have looked on the website. So the entry criteria, so there's several ways to get in. I'm just going to make sure that I've got it in front of me. So preferably, so there's one entry where if you've got UE, year 13 UE, if you're over 21, we can give you an alternative entry. So if you've come to us and you've said, actually, I left school, but I've worked in the health environment for the last 5 years. We'll certainly look at that. If you've done a foundational program, and I know Debbie will talk to you about the University of South Pacific one, we preferably would like to have done like a level 4 pre-entry program. The reason why we have entry criteria is because we want to set people up to succeed. Certainly we know in Aotearoa that for Māori and Pacific, they a lot haven't been so successful in the compulsory education sector. We don't want to replicate that. We don't, like what we want to say, we don't want to take you back to the scene of the accident and for you to fail again. So we want to make sure that you're able to come in with the skills, knowledge and expertise and confidence that you need to be successful. Not only are you learning about the world of academia and writing and APA referencing and essays and all that sort of thing, but you're learning new content. So it's a double whammy. You also have to be introduced to bioscience or the sciences, pathophysiology, all the body systems, which is for some people like learning a new language. So there's a whole lot of newness, and we want to make sure that you're set up right to be successful. Well, even if you are set up right, and we have people who come in that meet all the entry criteria and they've done really well, it's still quite a shock just to come in as an adult learner to a tertiary organisation, because of course it's all very independent. So we're giving you the information, but actually there's another whole 10 hours plus you have to go home and you have to organise and you have to do around. So it's not just coming and turning up and doing what's done on the day or the week or the semester. There's a whole lot of stuff that you're going to have to do when you go home, and that's often the hard bit for students, is to find that time, to carve that time out and do it. But as I said, if it's something that you really, really want to do, then you certainly, it's a sacrifice 3 years that is certainly worth it, and especially with the model that the Cook Island government is looking at, Ministry of Health. I mean, what a fantastic opportunity to have those opportunities once you graduate. The other entry criteria is you have to have you get police vetted, and you'll be police vetted from the Cook Island side as well as the Aotearoa side. You have to have a clean record. You have to have health screening. So of course you have to be fully vaccinated, but you have to get health screening for tuberculosis. That's one of the criteria. And I think that's it. So your qualifications, experience, the police vetting and the health screening are the main criteria to come in. And you get what we call conditional offer. So you get a conditional offer, and then you get accepted on once your police vetting and the health screening has come through. So if we do interview you, we give you a good indication of whether you meet the criteria. And certainly you can look on the website and see what those criteria are, which will give you an idea. If we say to you, you need to do this, don't see it too much as a failure, because we do tell people we'd prefer that you go away, you prepare better, and usually it's around getting a pre-entry program and come back. And certainly, we say we're not going anywhere. We would rather you be prepared, come back, be successful. There's nothing worse than us accepting you and then not being successful. Certainly, on our site, if people are paying a fee, I would say that, and of course warehouses across the road from our campus, I'd say you'd never go and put money on a warehouse table and walk away with nothing. And when people come into a tertiary organisation, pay a fee and then don't be successful, that's basically what they're doing. They're putting their money on the table, and they're also walking away with a debt and no qualification. And that's certainly not something that we would want to set up. So it is about that conversation of people being prepared. I think that is, we are setting up. We're just in the middle of, we will set up something on the website. So when you do click on, you'll see the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific, but we'll set up, like there's a Porirua campus, we'll set up a Cook Island campus, so you can, we need all your applications to be in there. There's no sort of bits of paper that we have anymore. It's all online. So it's quite a simple process. If I ever get over there, which I hope I do, I will then start interviewing people. So we have an interview process, and it's really have a conversation. We fill out the paperwork, and then then there's paperwork generated from that if you're successful with that. In a nutshell, that's basically the Bachelor of Nursing Pacific at Whitireia. I suppose I have talked a lot. Aroha mai. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to. I'll open up the floor to have a kōrero about things.
Hey, I'm just going to hold this mic so Aitutaki can hear. But me taki mata Tanya, is there any questions? A lot of information to take in, but we're working on Tanya arriving at sort of third week of January. Is that right? It's about the 24th. We're working on that. So hopefully we can get that tag or onto the website, so that by the time Tanya comes, we can go through the applications and start thinking about the interview process while Tanya's here, in partnership with Te Marae Ora around those things. And so when Tanya's coming up, this is part of the Nursing Council requirements to check placements and situations and all of that. So, but are there any questions? Aitutaki, do you have any questions? Actually, they're not there anymore. Okay. No other questions? Okay. We've got people's email addresses, Tanya, so if you can let us know as soon as that toggle is on your website, so we can direct them to apply online. And we've already had a chat about the January 2 papers in the summer school, that we're saying if you're really keen to do this, this would be a good idea to do those 2 summer school papers. I'd
really highly recommend. I know it's cutting into your summer, but isn't it summer all the time in the Cook Islands? I couldn't recommend more highly to do a foundational program. If there's one there, it will really strengthen your application. I know it means a bit of a sacrifice, but it's also something, like I've talked about, you'll need to pay forward with preparing yourself. And that's a great opportunity on your doorstep to be able to do that. So couldn't recommend that more highly, to pick up that option.
Okay, and the other thing around that at the moment is, as of January, the Cook Islands government is offering fees free.
Oh, you're on mute, Debbie.
Yeah, I'm back now. I'll just tell you, as of January, the Cook Islands government, as part of the COVID recovery package, are offering free 100 level papers. So those papers are January 10th. So you have to enroll like this week and next week. You have to enroll, right, Ta'i? Yes, yeah. So you can enroll if you can come in and see us, or you can email us on cook.islands@usp.gov.ac.c. Okay, I'll start again. cook.islands@usp.ac.fj. But we can send you that information in those emails, all right? So no other questions? Okay, there were some people listening in from Aitutaki as well. Tanya is a group of people up there. And so we will just direct people to your website if they need any more information, because your website's got pretty much everything on it. I should be looking this way because the camera is that way. Sorry.
Has this been recorded, Debbie?
It's being recorded, so we can share it.
Yeah, so maybe you might want to put the link up.
Yep.
So they can hear the kōrero.
Yep, that sounds like a great idea. No other questions? Okay. Well then, we got there.
We did.
Hold on. Mary? Quite a few what? Yeah.
So they got more experience, right? They got to do the newspaper and science, and then they got to go online and
yeah, so the 2 summer school programs are foundational, preparing you for uni. And then the enrollment into the program you should do as soon as we've got that Cook Islands link up, you should put your application in, and then you'll go through the screening process with Tanya's team. So that Cook Islands button is not there yet, but Tanya's working on it. You're working your magic, eh?
Yep. Yep. I'll even get a Vivid and put it in.
So yeah, so that little toggle on there, but before, I don't know if you saw it when I had it up. I think I had it on the screen there. Let's have a look. Not that one, this one. See that apply now? There. There's going to be a Cook Islands tag there. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where we will be doing. So, but in the meantime, apply for those 2 foundational courses, and Te Marae Ora will be working on the science foundational stuff for you as well to start before the semester begins proper for the degree. Just so that you're ready, and like Tanya just explained, you've set yourself up to succeed right from the beginning. Yeah? Any other questions? Okay. Well, thanks so much, Tanya. Okay, we'll see where we go.
Have a good Christmas and New Year's, everybody.
Yes,
Look forward to seeing you in real person.
Thanks for coming in. Those other people that I can see there, Anne and Dean and Aitataki were there, but they're gone. Okay. All right.
Bye.